What's going on? Came home a little bit early today because I got some plans that I got to go over with Johnny tonight. So I figured I'd stream a little bit earlier rather than Betty by time for most people. But nothing super changed in the market. Like always, if you do daily updates, that's the expected. But we are back down to the level that is needed to be held in order to not die. Okay, we did cover yesterday that there is another level that could potentially hold us up, that being the 25.4k level. All right, you can see we act as support here, resistance here, resistance here. So if we do happen to continue to the downside, there is a chance that we form, a smaller time frame ABC off of that level, and then perhaps see a retest from there. So at the moment, if we're focusing on more macro stuff, honestly, besides the ABC, that's the only reason why this really holds any significance to me in terms of support level. The 27k level isn't necessarily that important. If you are playing it as the ABC structure that it is. But for the most part, not so much. So that being said, we're hanging on. We're doing some retesting. So either this level here or this level here. It's looking like we're potentially going to get a retest. Like I said, to the upside, we have 3 major resistances in the way, preventing us from ever seeing the glory of potentially this range here. Now, as always, like if we surpass 32,475, that's when we can get excited. That's when we go, okay, we got a lot of potential on the upside. Probably would be setting up an intermediary target to get hit of about 43,000, but that's just the bullish side of things. I am definitely in bear mode. Not full bear, not we're going into a great recession bear. Fish, calm down. But been over it 1,000 times. Retesting at least 20k. 20k is a good number for us to go ahead and retest, bounce around, possibly create a larger A, and then get a first bounce to a B, and then hopefully some sort of C structure, trying to go back down and retest. Most likely 16.3k at the lowest, but because of the new price action set in stone, maybe we'll see that too. So go ahead and check out the DXY. DXY's still kind of cruising to the upside here. It's looking like it doesn't want to stop. We had the ABC structure on a smaller time frame for the DXY, which could have spelled a little bit of danger, but so far it's not letting up. It had a little bit of a retracement downwards. That's usually a good sign that the market's not ready to stop. There's always going to be people that are a little bit fearful around that area, but we have this resistance here, and then pretty much a free range to the upside, which definitely, in terms of stocks, Bitcoin devaluing against the dollar, that aren't increasing in their speculative value, aka we have no halvening to kind of force that, we'll definitely see a decrease in BTC and other things. Ethereum's still kind of holding on quite nicely. Not any major movement to the upside as of yet. It's hard to really be bullish with this ABC or even BTCs with what's happening with Ethereum. Ethereum tends to lead the market in some sort of way because it's so speculative. Bitcoin, we know what we're getting. All right. Now with the introduction of BRC tokens, it does become a little bit more speculative and can kind of stray away from the norm. But typically ETH has always been kind of the first to make a move in terms of what it wants to, the market itself wants to do. Just because it's the big daddy of altcoins. Pretty much everything is subsequent under it. Either it's directly attached to ETH or it's trying to mimic ETH. Or in some people's cases, is a direct copy of the code and then they rename it, repackage it to people. And then, you know what I'm talking about. So that's it for pretty much the crypto side of things. What sweater are you going to wear on the next live stream? Crypto lifer. Is that you? It's Johnny Incognito. Oh, it's kind of nasty. They got too cold, too fast. Johnny, I have a task that we need to get done tonight. So I'll talk to you about it when we get into our call after this, or if you're going to go stream after your stream. But I got a plan. I was reading that book today, the one that we found last night. And I'm not gonna just read the entire book and then try to implement everything. I'm gonna go step by step with what the book's talking about. Whoa, that's not me. I'm right here. Don't answer it if you have more than 20 BTC. Don't answer what? How's the whole ABC trading strat going? Good. I mean, it's been slow, and I mean that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing for me in terms of my psychology and how I view the market. Bad thing for like YouTube analytics. People don't like that. People do not like chilling. They're not making money. They're dead. They're dead inside. Schwap. Did you change from Bybit? Yeah. I've now been trading on DYDX. I haven't been actively trading on DYDX, but that is my new exchange. I have one trade open. That's a BTC short. Fortunately, I wasn't able to collect the ETH short and transfer it over. Some mishaps in that arena. Definitely would have been up some money. But in the future, I'm sure there'll be multiple trades. As of right now, I've talked about it. I'm feeling more spot for buys, and I'm feeling just taking advantage of leverage for shorts. No, I don't use Apex now. What do you think of BRC20 stuff? I think it's in the same situation that ETH is. I don't think there's anything incredibly valuable that's going to come out of it. I think it's a speculation of what the technology can do that's adding value to it currently. Nothing of it piques my interest, to be honest. It's a good thing for miners. Increases miners' fees. Keeps them active, wanting to turn their miners on. So in some sort of sense, it helps the network. In some other sense, not. It's another thing that is just in the crypto world that although there's value in it from a speculative point of view, I don't necessarily see the value in it from a is it actually valuable point of view. Can we get some TA on 1000 AI Doge? No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you can't. I'm sorry, Goof. No. What about MEXC exchange? So I'm gonna leave it up to you what exchange you use. I've been honest. I'm using DYDX. Comes with some caveats. If you're still in the United States, you have to make sure that you be an adult, and before you log into your wallet, you need to turn your VPN on. No excuse. VPNs are free. You can get open GX, Opera GX, which has a free VPN. If you want to go something different like Nord, which is attached to your physical desktop, which is always on if you want it to be, you can have that so there's no mishaps. But I'm not like implicating that any other exchange is terrible. It's not that I'm not moving to MEXC or KuCoin or whatever it might be that because I think they're worse exchanges. It's just one, I found some that works for me. It's a decentralized exchange. So besides the IP address logging in, there's no necessary KYC that will ever happen. It is a decentralized exchange. I'm sure there's other ones out there. I'm not trying to say that they're not worth it or worth it. This is just the one that I picked. It's just Bybit was my favorite out of all of them. And although seems that there might be a way to get around the whole KYC thing with digital residencies, which I haven't quite given my full attention to yet, but maybe in the future we'll explore that option. It's just if Bybit's willing to do that, what is stopping others from doing it? Because Bybit is probably doing it because it is profitable to do so. Obviously, regulation is another thing as well. So if regulation starts to crack down, or if it's profitable for these websites to do this, what is stopping Mexi or KuCoin from doing it as well? Simple as that. I just don't want to be caught up in another one of those. That's the main point. Floki and Pepe for next bull run? No, not really. When we are in the bull market, that's when we will start maybe doing the whale tracking method again and looking for what whales are buying and then jumping on that train and quickly selling for the explosion. But I'm not going to be pre-buying coins in the bear market in hopes that I get rich instantaneously through one bull market. Not my move. KDA, all right, basing it off of true metrics, not some stupid meme, not some stupid marketing. All right, I mean, before BRC20 really took the mining power and made a lot of money for miners on SHA-256, the Kadena mining algorithm was top of the line. It was producing profits where nobody else was. So in that case, you have miners' constant attention on it, so money still coming in. You have good flow to the market because miners are selling consistently, trying to keep their upkeep and make profit. Traders are willing to trade it. There's good support levels that are getting hit and holding, not just falling through and doing whatever they want. So there's structure to the market. And then beyond that, the idea of Kadena is somewhat cool. Proof of work network, but almost instantaneously fast as something like proof of stake, which Ethereum hasn't, like, there's no change to how I think Ethereum works. It's still pretty damn slow, to be honest with you. But KDA offers some solutions to that. And so just forgetting the marketing ploy of it's faster and it's still proof of work, the money's there. That's what I'm willing to bet on. I'm not willing to bet on, does it make me chuckle? Green guy, go boom. You know? It's not how I think. So can you do macro Elliott wave on analysis on BTC? No, not really. I'm not interested in Elliott wave in that such manner anymore. If we were to do like a super macro of Elliott wave on BTC at this moment in time, we are going into the biggest Bitcoin recession the world has ever seen, with targets somewhere around 3K to 1.5K. And you think I'm joking about that? I'm not. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the super macro of BTC. All right, so if you're trying to look for that 0.382, retest, or 0.618 if you're talking true Elliott wave, then you're looking for numbers such as that. Now, could I be arrogant and saying that I just don't think Elliott wave is going to take us down that far? It could be. Like, we could see that. Maybe it's in the cards. Maybe it's written in stone already, and I'm just ignoring the facts. Could be true. But in all case scenarios, I'm still paying attention to the macro levels from a horizontal standpoint. If we fail through a support that has tremendous amounts of range between that support and the next, I'm still going to sell, and I'm not really going to buy back until we get close to the next support. So do I truly miss out on anything by ignoring like a crazy ass macro? I don't think so. Dude, my lips are red. The white balance might be off. Making me self-conscious about my lips over here. What did I ever do? What did I ever do to deserve lips like these? We can drop the saturation a little bit. We can change the white balance. I think that's just the color of my lips, to be honest. I don't know. I'm with you, man. If you don't like my lips, that's your problem. Remember to do me a favor, guys. If you haven't already, go to the description towards the bottom. There is a link to a new channel called Beyond the Wicks. It is a crypto network channel with me and Johnny, where we're going to be submitting content collectively to this YouTube channel. Dual streaming on it, singular streaming on it, uploading. Don't know how many videos per week. Still in the works on like what the entire schedule of the weekly schedule is going to be. But I want to kind of shoot for like at least 2 videos a week on the channel of like tutorials or talking about trading in general. Probably one from me, one from Johnny. And a lot of the early parts of the channel is going to be us testing out stuff. Not just only what we're talking about, but from like a editing perspective, what works best. And I would incredibly love it if you went and subscribed and then paid attention to probably the first 3 months of the content being uploaded on there, and any feedback you have relative to what we're talking about, or maybe, you know, what kept you interested in watching a video, or what didn't keep you interested in watching a video. Anything like that, I would really appreciate it, because me and Johnny are going to try to make the best trading YouTube channel on YouTube. Not only in terms of the truthful content that we offer, but the quality of content that we offer. Trying to make stuff fun and interesting to watch, to kind of just help you. So that's my ad for today. Self plug. Only Monk can confirm about the lipstick. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if at that point you can call it lipstick. Definitely still stick. Accepted streamed sats? Accepted streamed sats? I'm sorry, you're gonna have to explain. I don't know what you're asking. One good thing. I feel like this is a no-brainer, but someone brought it up in the Discord today. They were having a long conversation and then I caught wind of it. He's basically asking, you know, what are the like rules for ABC? And I feel like I've been pretty fair in what constitutes that, but for anybody else that's missing the point here, all right, these are true ABCs. All right, ABC, and then ABC. That is an ABC. That's all it is. Now, there is slight variations of these, okay? So, yes, you might have an A to a perceived B, keyword perceived, and then you might not get a higher high. But within this wave, potentially, still able to be seen and still high enough of a time frame to make sense, you might have an A to a B to a C, where you don't officially put in either, you know, you can flip this upside down, you don't officially put in the lower low or the higher high. Instead, you're forming a double bottom or a double top. But you can still find a viable entry for that double top off of the smaller pattern here. Okay, so although you can technically name this your A to B to incompleted C, that's not technically an ABC. It is simply just a singular wave of possibly a larger structure going on. And this was a perceived top here. All right. So the explanation that I gave was to that was where what you would assume is turning into a larger ABC ends up putting in a higher low or a lower high, is changed in direction by a smaller ABC in the perceived larger C wave. But if that becomes a reality, that larger structure is just a larger single wave of perhaps an even larger structure than that. This is why if you remain on the larger time frames, this ongoing puzzle piece machine becomes limited. And if I butchered my own reading there, what I meant is like all the chart is to me is intersecting ABCs from one to another, where one ends, another begins, creating an ever ongoing puzzle that will end until probably I shut my eyes for the last time. So if you stick to a 2-hour time frame, 4-hour time frame, perhaps even a daily if you want to go out that far, you're limiting the amount of instances where you're going to have those higher lows, lower highs, where you have to really pay attention. I mean, on this time frame here, we've definitely had maybe a couple of those. Potentially, like this was a close one right here. And to be honest, it doesn't happen super often. This is kind of one here, or what could have potentially turned into one. We had A to B, and then we perceived that we're in the C wave, but then it comes up, and we definitely could have ended without putting in a higher high here, but obviously we did. So there's always going to be instances where it doesn't work out picture perfect, and if you're being honest with yourself, it probably never will. All right. In that case, it'd be tremendously rich. But it's about just moving through the market and being indifferent and waiting for the right opportunities rather than trying to force those opportunities. All right. That's the main difference. All right. If something's not lining up to your criteria, not just with ABCs, but with anything else, going to another strategy, just trying to look for an entry, probably isn't going to help you in the long run. I'm trying to go down here to... So here's a good example. So, I mean, this was the bottom of the bear market in 2019. So we had, our long downtrend here, a B going up to the upside here, and then what we would perceive to be going into a C wave to try to retest this low here. But we put in a higher low. But within that trend, what do you see? You see A to B to C. So it definitely would have been very, very rocky. I mean, if we draw out the 3% marks that we're typically used to using, you definitely would have been stopped out quite a number of times off of that line to either side. So, you're looking at two stops in actuality. So not that many. And then once you're back above that, you can see price action returns and retests, gets comfortably back above and starts working its way up. And then up here, you would start a new, perhaps ABC. You would start looking for ABCs within the current trend and surpassing this point. You'd be looking for this to be an A to B to C. And you're looking for a higher high and the retracement back down. So you'd be looking for A to B to C, but it kind of just lifted off. Over here, you had A to B to C, momentary retracement, pulled back. And this is why, like, the point of hedging is a major thing as well. You can see, like, this uptrend really didn't stop. There was a couple ABCs that kind of gave you an inclination that it was starting to stop, but not necessarily going to do a complete reversal. This is why if you get a good position, you hold on to it until the market gives you a new viable long ABC to go ahead and jump back into. Which, if you're being honest with yourself, during this moment in time, there wasn't really any. Like, you would have held on to that singular position unless you really made an excuse on a smaller time frame somewhere. You would have held on to that position possibly until right here. This is a decent ABC here. You can see it acted as resistance momentarily, and then once we surpassed it good. Or you could have held on to that same bear market position until up here, which this was like the nice support level of the entire descending triangle. And then you would have created a possible short hedge position here. And then you kind of just would have held it out. So, I mean, once you got into this position here, you probably would have been knocked out of it over here, but you would have got back into it. Possibly would have gotten knocked out of it a couple times. I'm gonna say 2 to 4 times from what I'm seeing there off of that like 3% level. So you would have opened up this position and you would have opened up this position over here. And then from that point, you really didn't get any resolution on what the market was going to do for like another month, which if you've been practicing in the way that we're practicing, let me tell you the perspective change that has happened since this moment in time. Because I remember this. All right, this was intense market cipher, low time frame scalping, kite crossing. Like this is when my channel really started to get going, was in this range here. And it felt like this particular range lasted forever. But now that I'm used to playing on like almost a weekly, monthly time scale of how trades actually work themselves out, this would be a piece of cake to me. All right. And then you got the resolution over here of downside. You could have hedged your long position here. And then, of course, like if you can always put some ingenuity into it. All right. And I'm sure as time goes on, there's going to be slight deviations of how I feel about the market and what I'm willing to do, especially knowing what I know about the market cycles now. All right. If I am going to take a long position in a incredibly bearish market, unless we're close to the halving of some sense, all right, then most likely I will have some precondition, or if there's an extraordinary amount of resistance in the way, I might just take my profit. So you had a long position here, and as soon as you hit this block of resistance, of volume, you could have taken some profit, or all of it, and then you wait, jumped back into it here. All at the same time, you had your short position open because there's nothing major to go ahead and take that position on. You had another one up here. There wasn't any major resistance until this high here. So once you approach that level, maybe you took profit around this region. And then, of course, you know, if you're willing to do what you got to do, maybe, you know, as you're noticing the market getting extremely thin, you start betting on potential short positions towards that top. Stuff like that. And then, you know, around this point is when we're pretty damn close to the halving. That's when you would start holding long positions instead of being able to say, hey, there's a lot of resistance. We're in a short leaning market. Probably shouldn't hold on to a long for that long. By this point in time, we were pretty close to the halving. I mean, I think this is during the halving is when all this happened. And then if you look at it from a macro time scale, downtrend, uptrend, downtrend, hold on to that long position and let it rip. And of course, all right, as things get going and you're in the halving cycle, bull market's going, resistances are breaking, you can have 2 separate accounts where one is focused on the longer term holds, collecting profit just in case you mess up on your ego, whatever it might be. And then you have, you know, perhaps breakout trading or just smaller time frame ABCs in general, moving on to the upside. So at the moment in time, that's partly some of the reason why I took profit on this original long position around this area. We were starting to hit the major highs, this one in particular. And of course, once we saw this big pullback, it definitely gave me a comfortable feeling that I made the right decision. But sometimes stuff doesn't work out picture perfect. We didn't get that long position from right here with a newly formed ABC. Ended up taking off without us. So market's not always going to work the way you want it to work, but if you pay attention, make the best probability move, more often than not, you're going to come out with some good winners. that make up for anything else that was temporarily painful in the meantime. I use Zelcore wallet for my KDA. So what I do is I buy it on Binance US. Once it gets to like $500 on there, I go in and I send it off. That way I'm not holding too much on a online wallet or exchange wallet in particular. Stop talking about my lips. What am I supposed to do? That's just my lips. Also, like, if you guys want to, go ahead and send me some video requests. Just so, because I want to have a huge amount of video ideas, brainstorming myself, collecting stuff from you guys of what you feel like is missing. And of course, me and Johnny are definitely gonna be going on YouTube and looking at other people's videos and then looking at what most people are interested in and then trying to refashion that to how we view the market, because we definitely have a somewhat different perspective than most people. No, Prathish. No. What's interesting is like OnlyFans technically was supposed to be a competitor to Patreon. It was never really meant to turn into like an adult website. It was legitimately supposed to be exactly what you guys are doing with me, where, you know, I might have a Discord or I might upload special content to there, not titties, but somehow that's what happened. Been extremely lucrative for them, by the way. So I can see why once they found out that that's what was happening, they leaned into it. Floppy face man. Video regarding analytics of major coins. So you want me to basically turn into Crypto Zombie, where we take a look at coin market cap and we look at the market cap and onboarding and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that suits me, but hey, that's a good idea. We'll definitely put that in there. I'm sure like when me and Johnny do the like duo streams, you know, we'll talk about coins and stuff, because when we do the duo streams, obviously it might not be as chart focused. Maybe it's going to be like legitimately just talking about the crypto market as a whole, our ideas of new coins that came out, or just chatting. Are you going to try to win a hedgie? Try to win a hedgie? Hedge? Like, I mean, if it's a hedge, there's always a win. It's when the market doesn't give you a hedge that if you win, it is by pure luck. So, I mean, I have spot holdings based off of the ABC, the bullish one that we currently have, and I have a leverage short off of the current bearish ABC that we have. So I have a hedge open. The range is not too large. So either way it goes, gonna do good. But I definitely have higher hopes for the downside. Just being honest. Oh. Hedgies. I haven't I haven't looked into hedgies at all, no. But 125 instances of the 125 instances of the 100. So you just want me to copy and paste the RSI 125 times to make it look official and put different colors to all of them? So I doubt anybody has noticed because it's just not that important. But the lights that are behind me that I usually turn on for special effect, um, I found out that these little controllers, which are snapped on in order to, do wireless connection, any nano leaves that were manufactured between 2021 and 2022 have faulty controllers. And if you go to their website, put in the serial code, if it matches, they will send you a free one free of charge. So I got that on the way. That way I can get the lights back up and running. I thought about I don't know if I want to finish the rest of the wall or if I'm just going to paint it black just to let it blend in. Probably should have done that in the first place, to be honest, is just paint the wall black and then put everything on there that way. The seams between the 3D panels aren't as noticeable. Did you ever try to eat from customers' food while door dashing? Absolutely not. Like, I don't care what job you work. If you signed up for the job, you are supposed to do it. So, if you're a cart boy at Target, don't slack. Get those carts. All right, if you work at a restaurant, yeah, it sucks sometimes, but you signed up for that. Do your job. All right, if you signed up to be a DoorDasher, independent contractor, that involves not screwing over people. Never have I ever. All right. The thing like that I don't understand, because I mean, I go on the DoorDash driver Reddit, people complaining about no tippers and all that kind of stuff, no tip, no trip, and, screwing with people's food and putting the AC on them when they don't tip. You don't have to accept those orders. So what are you doing? All right. So you accept an order that has no tip just so you can complain about it and do something malicious. You were going to do something malicious at some point anyways if you have that mindset. Stupid people, man. Like, I get it. All right. Like, if your market doesn't have that many good tippers and you have so many dashers in the market and people are only going for good tips, that's going to limit your income. But at the same time, that's the name of the game. It's what you signed up for. Don't complain about it. All right. So I'm at the point with DoorDashing now where like I have regulars. Like I sit in a certain area of my city, so I usually have primary access to most restaurants in that area. And then people that constantly order food from there, they'll tip a decent amount to the point where like I accept the order. But then because they know that, I actually care somewhat, I'm fast, courteous, I use a hot bag. I turn, if they tip a decent amount, then I'll turn on the heat seater, the seat heater on the hot bag. And then once they see my name, they usually tip extra because they know like it's not just a random person, but it's someone that constantly delivers the food and they have a good experience with it. I'm just a kid on the internet, not set in a long time. I still have that mindset. I've said to my dad many times, I'm like, there's no such thing as adults. It is kids that simply have a little bit more experience than the next kid. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like 100 years is nothing. So to like have any ego attached, like how much you know about anything is quite arrogant. So I think it needs to go without saying. most days. On a serious note, if you ever go on the BLX chart monthly and set it to log, you will see a very important trend line from the peak of the 2011 bull market running through price. We have broken through it. It's a BLX chart. So Bitcoin liquidity index, okay. And then go to, you said monthly. Don't have access to that much. Okay, so you said, on a serious note, if you go through the BLX chart and set it to log, it's on log, you will see a very important trend line from the peak of the 2011. Trend lines, I don't warrant much respect to. Kind of been over that. Like if you want to say like, oh, that's the trend line, or however you're drawing it from here to here, or from here to here, or from here to here, you know, you can kind of tweak it how you want it. If you want to go with like a logarithmic curve, that might be a little bit more representative of what's actually happening, and kind of get a baseline. But you can really make it, you can turn it into any shape that you really want, to make it fit your bias of what's happening. So, I mean, there you go. You know, we're kind of just following this logarithmic curve of, you know, slower liquidity coming in the market, but still on an upward trajectory. So, are you happy with your current job? Is it helping you health wise? Absolutely. I mean, like, it gets me out of the house to the point where, like, I was barely doing that. Like, during the bull market, I maybe left the house like a couple times, and that was not any reason besides maybe going to show up to a family function for a little bit. I barely left the house. I was always sitting in a chair, never really got any exercise, door dashing food every single day, like 2 to 3 times a day. So being in the car by myself, and not hooked up to the direct internet. Obviously, I still have a cell phone. I can still watch YouTube in the car, but not having direct access in the way that I have it in front of me right now helps tremendously during the day. I pop on an audiobook and I listen to it. I pick up ideas, constantly walking. If I want food, I'm near food. Obviously, we're doing the fasting right now, but you know, it gave me opportunities that weren't there before, and it helped me appreciate again just everything. It's very almost sad and stupid to say for such a like a menial job, but it honestly, it gave me a lot of light back. Just seeing and talking to people and all that kind of stuff. Cool. And like one thing that I like to incorporate is when, so like when I go deliver an order and I come back to the area that I usually sit in, sometimes there'll be a lot of downtime, like especially around like 3 to 4 p.m. during the day. There's just like an hour where I barely get any orders. Like I'll have good 20-minute batches of time where nothing's going on. I'm just sitting in the car. So instead of wasting that time, I do nothing. I do Zazen. So I mean, I've been reading the Shobogenzo and trying to practice that. And in the book, it talks about like you shouldn't really talk about your practices to people because it's almost from an egotistic perspective. So there is that sense when I'm saying this, but you know, I just practice doing nothing and clearing my head, and that has been tremendously helpful. Whereas before, there was never a moment where I cleared my head, besides intentionally trying to do like Wim Hof or anything like that. But a lot of that stuff was by accident. It was not the intention going into it. Um, so Hey Kite, hope you're doing good. I am doing good. What are your thoughts on Ledger now providing service to store your private keys with third-party custodian? Third-party custodian. So you talking about like a multi-person wallet where like you and your family can access the wallet, or are you talking about like they're outsourcing their wallet to like an example would be like Ledger partnering with Coinbase and Coinbase is storing the coins, but you're going through Ledger to store your coins. That I would not be in favor of because like the whole point of Ledger is that it's not an online wallet. It is a password protected USB stick with hardware on software on it to act as a wallet that once you connect it to the internet, it updates the ledger to match the wallet with the current network, which is what a true wallet is. Go from the candle close of the monthly candle peak in 2011. Go from the can. Okay, so 2011 candle peak. So you want me to go from candle close? Okay. And then what do you want me to do with this? Do you want me to draw a trend line like this? Do you want me to draw a horizontal, vertical? I mean, that would not necessarily be a true trend line because you're not comparing support to support. You're comparing previous resistance to support. I mean, that's the problem with trend lines, man. Like you, just like how I showed you a bunch of different ways to prove that like we're still within an upward trajectory, just kind of falling to the side a little bit. You could come along and say this and say we are below that trend line. We're going to doomsday fall. If that's what you're saying, just making assumptions based on what you're typing in chat. But see what I'm saying? Like you have several different perspectives that you can draw with trend lines. Horizontals, true or false. Above it, below it. No room for interpretation or messing up the angle of the trend or whatever it might be. So now if you came to me, maybe a month or two ago and you said, hey, look at the previous high from, the 2017 bull run. Liquidity is below it, but yet we're still maintaining a higher price. That's sounding out loud. That sounds kind of like a bullish divergence. But if we maintain that and got some sort of ABC measurement off of it, we could talk about that. Run it along the candle closes. So you want me to go from here to here, from here to here, here to here, from here to here. I don't quite understand. Joe, what's going on? How you doing, buddy? Well, I don't quite understand how I'm supposed to run it along the candle closes if it's a singular line, because that's kind of defeating the purpose. So you want me to connect it from this one to this one? Don't know if you saw my other comment or if it got blocked, but what wallet do you use to hodl KDA? Zelcore. I answered that question. Whether or not you were listening to the live stream, different story. Answered it. Zelcore. Gold TA? I mean, we had this marked out. So I guarantee you I haven't looked at the gold chart in a very long time. But we have looked. We've had this ABC probably plotted out for a good period of time. We must have at least. Well, probably we only looked at this chart last year or something like that. I mean, we have a gigantic ABC. We had a bullish ABC here where you could have jumped into price action for a hedge position. But in terms of everything that I see, definitely can be looking to go on a run. Interesting to see. Gold on the uptick here past its resistance, trying to go and retest its previous smaller time frame resistance, and possibly see some new highs. But at the same time, the DXY trying to make a turn to the upside. So you ever think about valuing your investments in BTC instead of USD? We've talked about that. Like I said, if you understand the true value of BTC, measuring it against the dollar doesn't make much sense. But that being said, as long as you understand that and treat it as such, you're going to view the market differently. But it's still kind of a necessity. I just don't like trading like altcoin pairs, to be honest with you. But do they have BTC to KDA trades anywhere? KDA BTC? That's an interesting marker there. I mean, been just straight downtrend. There's nothing really for me to take advantage of besides that one position. But I don't know how much necessarily net profit that would have made. I think if you're like, let's say that you're really trying to live off grid, then maybe that's where you kind of trade. But I'm not off grid. I still buy stuff in US dollars. I still go to Chipotle. I still pay my bills. But if you're completely off grid and you want to be full crypto, then yeah, that's what you kind of have to do. You would have to find competing assets that devalue less than the next guy in order to maintain the general value of your coins until the next bull market. Kite, how many times did you read the book, which you always recommend? Insert long name. Probably 2 times. 2 times, and then I went back for a third for the parts that really mattered to me, which was pertaining to um, ABCs themselves. Why do I use Elliott Wave now? It becomes a pretentious, egotistic way of being Nostradamus of the market. All right. I think if you use Elliott Wave in its true honesty, you can have some decent success with it. But I think the more simplistic you take Elliott Wave itself, we've talked about it. ABCs are nothing but Elliott Wave, minus looking for particular retracements or projections, and then simplifying it down into 3 waves instead of 5. We've talked about how an ABC typically, all right, is going to be some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to have the 1, the 2, the 3, all right, and then the 4th wave will typically break the trend, and then the 5th wave will retest the trend. So you're getting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. But traditionally, if you're looking at it from a trend line perspective, you only have 1, 2, and 3. You can minus these 3 to some sense. And there's times where you don't get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You only get a 1, 2, 3 from a traditional perspective. And you're left with that. But what happens is you get people that think that they can predict the exact top and exact bottom of the market. And when it does happen, their brain lights on fire. When it doesn't happen, they go, it was a fluke. All right. So you have people that are trying to hit the take profit at the 0.618, and then they try to long it, and then it fails. They do it 100,000 times. And they get this false perspective that they can pretend that they will know exactly where the market's going to land, bounce, hit in any direction at any given point in time. And it becomes an absolute shit show from a psychological perspective. Hold on. Give me a second. You were killing it back in the day with the Elliott Wave and the 125 RSI combo. Well, related to the RSI, all right, ABCs, for example, you have 2 peaks. Now, traditionally, a ABC from like a standard chart perspective marks a reversal. So if there's an accompanying divergence with that off of the RSI, do I really need to look at the RSI in order to understand that I need to take a short at that level? No. When it comes to killing it with Elliott Wave in general, yeah. But you have to understand that ABCs are a huge part of Elliott Wave. So when it came to taking profit too early and all that kind of stuff, that's where my fault was. Elliott Wave makes you second guess whether or not you should take profit there, wherever it might be, instead of leaving it to chance. See, the problem is people don't want to leave it to chance. They feel like they're better suited to be in control of their own destiny. They want to be the person that says, I'm going to take profit here, no matter what, because it's a 0.618, and that's what Elliott Wave tells me to do. They never let their winners run, and then what happens? All right, if they have any sort of falter in the average risk reward versus the win ratio, they're doomed. All right, because there's going to be moments in time where the market's just not performing the way that it typically would, where you're having crazy chop back and forth, and you can constantly hit these projections. Sometimes, especially during these markets, you're going to have really, really long trends. So that's why I got away from Elliott Wave and made it simple. Not only was it nerve-wracking from a psychological perspective and egotistical perspective, it just wasn't conducive to like a healthy strategy for me. Now, if you're using Elliott Wave in its honest way, where it's a projection of possible outcomes, then maybe you might have some success with it. But the problem is it's very easy to fall in the trap of, I'm the master of the market. It happens to the best of us. And then that's not only going into the fact that like ABCs, you have an ABC. Elliott Wave, you have ABCs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, first wave extensions, third wave extensions, fifth wave extensions, W, X, Y, and Zs. You have a lot of different other complicated things to keep track of. Now, could it be that that is an intricate part of the market, and if you master all of them, you'll never have a down day in your life? Maybe. Or maybe you're just clouding your judgment in even more, where if the market is doing something, you have to figure out as quick as possible which one is it, and then predict it accordingly, and then take the extensions. Probably want to make a 1-5 restored ratio, and just it's a lot of trouble. With ABCs, you have ABC. That is it. And then the trick to it is, instead of trying to be the master of your own fate and take profit at this point and go, that's where the market's going to stop, and then I'm going to long from there, and it's going to go up to here, and I'm going to short, I'm going to make money, I'm going to make money, I'm going to make money. You let the market do whatever it wants to do. You're a passive bystander who made a risk-educated decision at a certain point of time based on what the market was showing you. The rest of it, let the market do it. Don't worry about it. You're not in control of shit. So that's why ABCs, for me, are what I like. Never claimed that they were the most profitable. But for me, it's a mixture of profitability and long-term viability. If you're doing something that racks your brain and takes away from the time to be a human, and you're just some cog in a machine watching a screen, then what really are you? You're not some independent person making their own path, living the life of being a day trader. You're a slave to the market. So at the end of the day, who's winning? The person who has more money or slightly more money because they, are doing a trading strategy that is significantly harder, or someone that can still make money, compounded appropriately over a long period of time, but then have access to go do other things and be a human. I think that's the truth to it. Because if you're being honest, like with why people want to get into day trading, and they don't want to sit at a computer all day. They want that typical lifestyle of being able to go do what you want and not have to talk to somebody else in order to get approval on what you're going to do. So, fall into the trap of just trading one boss out for another, you're defeating the purpose of it all. So, Um. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hop off for the night. Pleasure talking to you guys as always. Good stream tonight. Like I said, check out the video description. Go to the channel Beyond the Wicks. Subscribe, bell notification, and then we'll be uploading content fairly soon, probably within the next week. I highly appreciate it if you guys go do that. Like I said, it's gonna be me and Johnny's channel, and hopefully in the future, that's the channel. Kite Crypto will be branded into something else. Still, crypto's gonna be a huge part of it, but probably more room for other things. But in terms of everything crypto, ABC related, eventually we'll start moving to that channel. So, I love you guys, and I will talk to you possibly tomorrow. As always, it's just whenever we got time, we got time. Don't get me wrong, I'll always have time for you, but sometimes the society we live in requires me to give up that portion. No. Go and do the thing. I'll see you soon. Bye.